Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight we have a very pivotal matchup. Tonight we have our New York Mets going to Philadelphia playing those Phillies. And I'll tell you what, this is a matchup of two teams that are actually playing very, very well. We might very well have the two hottest teams in all of baseball playing tonight. In the last 10 games, our Mets are 8-2, but so are the Phillies. But the Mets are doing something well that the Phillies aren't, and the Phillies are doing something well that the Mets aren't. So there are weaknesses that the Phillies have, and the Phillies are definitely beatable. We're going to go over some keys to the game momentarily. In fact, there are a couple hitters on our team that have to step up tonight because their career numbers off of Nola are gaudy. Gaudy. So these players I'm gonna name very shortly, but those players are going to have to step up. And as their career numbers have dictated, they will step up against Nola. Okay, so in the last 10 games, both the Mets and the Phillies have shown a bit of power. The Mets have 10 home runs, the Phillies have 14 home runs. But here's where we differ. The Phillies in the last 10 games are batting 282. The Mets are batting 200. The Mets have to get the bats going. I think that's, it doesn't even have to be said. That's a bit obvious. The Mets on base percentage is 298. The Phillies on base percentage is 348. So again, you got to hit. The slugging for the Phillies is 483. The Mets, again, lowly number 334. But this is what the Mets are doing. The Mets are pitching their behinds off. In the last 10 games, the Mets have a 2.2 ERA led by our, great performances from Manaea, even McGill, Severino. We've had some really great pitching performances. Our batting average against is 197. It's under 200, so that's phenomenal. Our Ks per nine is 10.5, and juxtaposed, Phillies ERA against is 4. So the Phillies pitchers are not pitching that great. They're pitching to a 4 ERA. Batting average against is 2.56. And, so that just goes to show you the bats have to get going. Okay, we haven't been hitting that well in the last 10 games. Fine, you hit today. Today is the day. We have 16 games left. Stretch run. This is the time we get our bats going. Okay, so this year, thus far, how have we done against those fighting Phils? And it's really so funny. As I look at the numbers against the Phillies this year, it's actually like a snapshot of what happened the last 10 games. Basically, the Mets didn't hit enough, and our pitching, that's something that has changed. Our pitching back then against the Phillies wasn't there. So here's the thing. If we can pitch, and we're going to go over the matchups. We're going to go over Quintana against the Phillies, and we're going to go over against Aaron Nola against the Mets. So we're going to see the key things that we have to do. But overall on the year, runs-wise, we have been outscored tremendously by the Phillies. We've been outscored 36 runs to 23. In the hit category, we've been out-hit 55 to 47, which isn't that bad. Kind of just shows you our biggest weakness. We haven't been hitting with runners in scoring position, haven't been getting that key hit. But you know what? This is the old team. We are a brand new bunch right now. Our batting average against the Phillies isn't too impressive, 219, and the Phillies hit 261 against us. Okay, so that's really in the past. What I've been saying in my last couple of videos, we are a whole different team right now. We're very, very analytical. So I know I can basically predict the lineup today. I basically can predict the lineup. So thus far, Aaron Nola has pitched very, very well against us. All right, so actually first, let me look at Jose Quintana and what he needs to do tonight against the Phillies. This year, thus far, Quintana hasn't been that impressive against the Phillies. He's had 2 starts with a 5 earned average. He's given up 10 hits, 5 earned runs, hasn't struck out a whole bunch, gave up 10 hits in 9 innings. but really hasn't kept us in the game. Hasn't kept us in the game. So, I'm going to look at guys that he really needs to shut down. Because if I look in the last 2 years, there have been a couple Phillies, quite a few Phillies, who have had Jose Quintana's number. For example, Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber in the last 2 years is batting .417 against Quintana. .417. He's got a home run, 3 RBIs. Bryce Harper, he's batting .429. JT Realmuto's batting .429. So you got those 3 guys. I would say those 3 guys are the main keys. And it's not easy. Those guys are all-stars. But those are the guys who have had his number. If he could somehow found a way in key situations to pitch around those guys, especially Schwarber. Schwarber has the best numbers, and he has the best career numbers against Quintana. Bryce Harper's numbers this year against Quintana aren't that high. It's just that he had a good year last year against Quintana. So if he could somehow shut down Schwarber, I would target Schwarber. You shut down Schwarber, pitch around Schwarber. That is going to be the key. And we're not looking for a Mania Jim. That would be nice. It would be really nice. Obviously, he's a different type of pitcher. He's not going to strike out 9 or 10 like McGill. Quality start. That's what we're looking for. If you can go 6 innings, 2 or 3 earned runs, that would be respectable. We're playing in Philly. It's a bandbox. That's what we need to do. We're looking for a quality start, and we're looking for the bats to step up. And I'm going to tell you specifically who has to step up against Aaron Nola, because Aaron Nola this year has pitched very, very well against our New York Mets. So this year, is in the past. Now is in the present. Okay, so now we're going to look at Aaron Nola against our team, our lineup. So this year, Aaron Nola has pitched 1 game against the Mets, and it was a doozy. Basically, it was a complete game, 8 strikeouts, and he allowed 0 runs. It wasn't good, folks. It was not good. I remember back in 2021, he had a similar type of performance. So, but the thing is, the bottom line is, Aaron Nola is not an untouchable pitcher. He's definitely not an untouchable pitcher. This year, he's had our number. Last year, he pitched 1 game against us. For example, he was 0-1 with a 6 ERA. In 2020, we tagged him for 4.08 ERA. To be fair, his career numbers against the Mets, he's 10-8 with a 3.21 ERA. So overall, he has done pretty decent. But who in our lineup has been able to touch up Mr. Aaron Nola? And there's one guy in particular who has really touched him up, but I'll go through a couple right now. So Brandon Nimmo, career average against Nola is he's got 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 11 walks, 240 batting average, 377 on base. So he gets on base against Nola. He has a lot of walks. Nothing special. Francisco Lindor, Mr. MVP. Not so impressive against Nola. 0 home runs, 1 RBI, batting 200, 273 on base. Not so impressive. A guy who does have actually impressive numbers against Nola is Starling Marte. Starling Marte, he's going to be in the lineup tonight, obviously. In 31 at-bats, he has 11 hits. He's batting .355, 1 home run, 3 RBIs. So Starling Marte, that is a guy who's going to be in the lineup tonight. Jose Iglesias, actually, it's not a huge sample size. He's 3 for 7 with a .429 batting average. Jose Iglesias, obvious because the McNeil injury, is going to be in the lineup, but he's done well against him. Tyrone Taylor, again, he's had limited at bats. He's 3 for 8 with a with a 375 batting average. That's not bad. But here's the key guy. The key guy is Mr. Pete Alonso. He has mashed Aaron Nola in his career. 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 327 batting average, 365 on base, 700 slug, and almost 1100 OPS. So this guy has absolutely mashed Aaron Nola. You got Lindor, not a great career average. You got Jesse Winker, not a great career average. JD Martinez, not a great career average. So those guys that I mentioned have to step up. Louis Torrens, he's 2 for 3, so he's got a 667. But the guy who clearly has the most at bats, Alonso has 52 at bats, and he's a guy who has clearly mashed Nola. So that is going to be the key. This is going to be the key. And just like we are going into the series, the Mets have pitched, the Phillies have hit. So this game, we have to somehow stymie the bats. Stymie the bats. Quintana, I'm looking for a quality start. And if he doesn't have it, then Carlos Mendoza has to go to the pen quickly. We cannot afford to give up any game. I don't care who we're facing right now. Every game you need to win. Every game is a game 7 right now. That's got to be your mentality. So you have to try, at all costs, limit the runs. Limit the runs from the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber is a guy who's had your number, so you try to avoid him in key situations. On the flip side, Aaron Nola pitched pretty decent this year, but a guy like Pete Alonso, who's had a good career against Nola, that's who has to step up big time. So we're looking for Pete to step up, and if that happens, I could see a win. I could see a win. And of course, the bullpen has to step up, and the bullpen has to be right. But that's the thing. We can't get off to a bad start. Quintana has to have that quality start. Quality start, get Pete going. Those I would isolate are my 2 keys of the game. All right, what do you think? Like, subscribe. What do you think are the keys to tonight's game? I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I gotta go. I'm gonna get ready for work. I will see everyone later. Have a great day.